Yes, I will get into this another, but I want to have a discussion with you all about something. And I want to allow everything to load up just for a minute because, of course, seems like when I go live, I get all these alerts and people start sending messages. And I feel like this message that I'm going to say right now is very important because, of course, I've talked about this over and over again. And the deepness of this conversation must be had. And even going into the people that are a little confused, because even people within this whole, people that are within the situation is confused. And so, of course, the title of the video says the apple will never be an orange. And something motivated me to do this because I had a discussion with someone today who was very y'all, I'm gonna say this. If you do not know, my name is Madam Berkaba, two-spiritedmystic.blogspot.com. Okay, and of course we'll be renovating some teas because, of course, I want you to know that it's more than just a two-spirit energy because that is a social identity, not a self-identifying energy. Hello, and so either way. I pay attention, and of course, things come to me, and I learned exactly what intuition is. And of course, so intuition is using, your faculties, which is your mind's structure, to interpret energies and signals that is sent to it in your environment throughout the day or whatever. And you learn how to interpret these energies. Of course, everybody have intuition because we all receive signals from outside sources like the birds, the trees, the squirrels, the grass, etc., etc. But a lot of us were not aware of these signals because we're not aware of ourselves or even our own faculties. And so you can never be fully aware of your intuition if you're not fully aware of who you are and your mental capacity. And so with that being said, I've always have experiences where I meet people where they're questioning their mental faculties. Okay. And so either way, we had a video last night where I was kind of talking about some things, and after I got off, I was like, "What made me go on that live?" I could have waited for that. And then this morning, I come across this person who was a little confused about gender identity, and of course he was saying that it was a little, and of course this is on a different platform, and I woke up to this, and he was saying like he thinks that someone who was born a male or female who chooses to identify as the opposite of what they were born, they're not really being them true selves. And on top of them not being them true selves, it is in the same area as, a Jeffrey Dahmer. And he even said it's even as crazy as a white man identifying as a black man. And I mentioned even last night in the video where somebody said that identifies as a Campbell soup, that's not possible. But it is possible for a man to feel like he's a woman or a woman to feel like she's a man. And of course, I'm going to break it down for you right now because, of course, everything's about education. And it has come to my attention that if people who are not aware of their own thought processes, people who are not aware of even their own mental capacity, these are usually the ones that are transphobic or homophobic. And I do want to separate because they said that heterosexuality and homosexuality are very different from being straight or from being gay. And I even told y'all that being transgender is separate from being a transsexual because, of course, back into the medical books and stuff, they had a separation of what a transvestite was and what a transsexual was. And of course, things have happened socially and collectively. We have chose to identify that those people are transgender regardless. And now we have people that are even trying to blur the lines even more. And I'm going to explain exactly what this is. Now, this is not my opinion. This has actually been proven. They have done studies on this, y'all. They have been studying human sexuality and human gender identity for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And they really have kicked their self in the gears in the past 100 and some not years. I think it's 112 years. And so either way, most recently, I would say before now, they have had breakthroughs, I believe in like the 1950s or 1960s, where they were trying to figure out why would a man who is so powerful in society, who has his way with all things and everything, and he can do a crime and get away with it, what would make him want to identify as a soft woman, and a woman who's abused, neglected, disrespected, and not treated kindly, right? And of course, this goes for the white woman as well. And so, of course, this is where this feminist movement came from. And they want to say feminist movement because you educated these men, these toxic men, these men who are not even aware of who they are, about where they come from. They want to separate you and say that, baby, you're a feminist and you're anti male, you hate men. And that's another reason why I'm not shocked that women nowadays are saying that transgender people are also anti-female, or that we hate women, because that's the same rhetoric that they said to them, not, within the past, let's say 50 to 70 years. And so either way, you guys, racial identity is a social construct. And of course, who we are racially is only because people has chose to classify us. I had this discussion with someone the other day that race wasn't even, up until a certain point, race wasn't even, you wasn't even identified racially based on your skin color. You were, in fact, identified racially, and the elites know this, by your facial features and other attributes. And so they did not start identifying you as your race based off your skin color and or hair texture until the most recent years. And we're going to say the past, we're going to say 300, 400 years. And of course, we know why. Because, of course, if you know who you are, then you will never have no power. If you don't know who you are, you will never have any power. So, gender, a racial identity, is definitely a social construct, because you will never know what it's like to be black or African if you've never been there. Okay. And of course, that's not your culture. And so, of course, you have people that are, from South Africa, as a good example, who are considered African Americans, or South African Americans to be exact, that come over here. And you have Black Americans identify as African Americans. So there's a little bit of confusion there. So I could see why a lot of people would say, well, a transgender would be like a white woman saying she's black, and there's no way. And it's like, well, you're right about that, because a white woman will never know what it's like to be black. A black man will never know what it's like to be white, because, of course, these are social constructs. And in the same area, because I noticed why people got a little confused, a lot of trans people, I'm gonna use the word trans because, of course, they're transgender. I identify as transsexual, not transgender. There's no changing of my roles. There's no taking this off when I want to take it off. Like, I was born this way and I'm gonna go out this way. Natural cause, wise. But either way, a lot of these people, including some of your favorite trans people, they have said that they honored their mother, or their father, or, they've, honored their auntie or their grandmother. And this made them want to become a transgender. And that would be the same, that would be constructed. That would be socially constructed gender identity, because these are people that choose to take on the female role or the feminine role, the masculine role, to honor their parent. This is not an internal feeling. This is not an internal diagnosis. This is not an internal wiring. This is not something going on within the brain, within the heart space, within the hard wiring of the body that say they are female. And that's why a lot of them are comfortable. And I always tell y'all this, you're never going to find a pre-transition picture of me happy. You're never going to find a picture of me before, and this was before I knew what the fuck a tranny was, this before I knew what the fuck a transgender was, a nigga in a wig was. You're never going to find a boy picture of me happy and just, oh my God, I'm so happy looking like a man. When I was able to start dressing myself, I always wanted to dress unisexly. And when I say that is I didn't want to mix like girl clothes with boy clothes, but I wanted to wear clothes that people wouldn't know what it was. Okay, and this was my choice. And of course I got my ass whipped for it. I do want to point that out. But that was me. I never proudly, I never nicely said, you know what? I want to go in here and I want to wear like the hardest male outfit. I want to rock the strongest male shoes. I just want to be so manly. And even going into a career that I had as a teenage model, and I do have those pictures to be exact, when we want to get into it, I also have copies of my contracts and stuff. But either way, these pictures that you will see, I was content, but trust me when I tell you this, I was only content because money was involved. Respectfully, where the fuck is my bill? I was only content because I was paid to play a male role. Can we talk about it? And so you can call me a sellout if you want to say that. I was a sellout because I played the male teenage role because I got paid to do so. I'll be okay with that. Okay. I was never playing that role to get affection and liking from my family, from parents, or any of that. It was made clear after I was done at 16 years old, and I'm willing to say at 14, I was ready to get the fuck up out of, like, girl, for real, and say, I'm ready to live my life. I'm ready to live my truth because my reality of what I felt in the inside did not match my reality around me. And so I was willing to let go of family and friends respectfully and say, baby, this is my truth, because this is who I feel like an inside. And of course, this is a wiring of the brain. And of course, we could pull up some information that you guys could, research on your own, because there's actually institutes that, are ranked by people who are not, LGBT. And I'm not saying that means anything, but I do want to say that because, of course, if Black people owned their own research center and the research center only concluded research on Black people, of course you would assume that these people are going to make up stuff about Black people, being powerhouses or having some type of power. But when it's done by white researchers or people who once upon a time oppressed them, then you would believe that there's some type of truth to it. Just like how people have identities, with their, Native American culture, and people called them crazy and shit. I know people, just recently as the 90s girl will fought with other Black people when they didn't want to be called African Americans. And now we're in 2026 and people are gagging if they're finding out that them too are not African American. And so they're pissing on themselves, and some of them are actually going crazy. And so that's the same thing with this whole thing. They have institutes, y'all. And of course, one of the institutes out there is the under the National Center for Biotechnology Information, which is NCBI, and it's called Brain Sex Differences Related to Gender Identity. And so we've always known, y'all, because I'm a different type of transgender person. If y'all want to call me that, I'm gonna accept that. I'm a different type of transgender person. Instead of me was out here figuring out how was I gonna be passable to fool people. I was understanding exactly who I was and why I am and what is my purpose here. And so I learned about the corpus callosum. And of course, the corpus callosum, you can look this up too. It's a part of the brain. That's not just the only part of your brain, but it deals with perception and gender reality. And they've actually done post-mortem, and they've done other studies where they've shown that some of these so-called transgender people are actually, XXY chromosome, or they got an extra female chromosome, or going into the brain structure. Like their brain structure is a little different from the, native born male. And so, of course, you've been confused because you have a cousin named Ray Ray who had babies with women and he was comfortable doing that. And then he decided to become a woman. So now you think that's all of our stories. And that's not how it is. Just like you think that, and so with that being said, you will start to conclude that, well, if they can pick and choose that they could be a man or be a woman, then they all must pick and choose. And like I said, for me, it was life or death. We have medical records to prove that. We have people that can come and attest that for me. Baby, it was either this was my reality or it was time to go. There was no being nobody's daddy. There was being nobody's son. There was being nobody's uncle. It was not me going around with a full beard and mustache and let my dick and balls hang at slang respectfully and be okay with that. That was not my story. It will never be my story. And we're not going to say that's a gender, because people will say like, well, maybe that's a gender, construct, right? Because people gotta always go against the grain. No, you transitioning to be a woman just because you wanted to identify with your mother because you have deep connection with her, that is you confirming gender roles. That is you being actually, and we talked about this before. When people say misogynist, I never really realized, y'all. I was like, misogynist? How the fuck are these people misogynist? But that would be a form of misogyny. If you were born a male and you decided to imitate or mock a woman because your mother was a beautiful woman or your mother loved you so much or your mother rejected you and you felt like you still needed to have a piece of her with you, so you decided to transition, then you, like I said, would be a part of the gender roles and the issues that we have that were presented to us by toxic masculinity. And the crazy thing about it is a lot of these people like the Lily Tinos and the Dylan Mulvaney's, and like I tell you, I don't care to ever be invited to a GLAAD award. I don't care to ever be invited to any type of agency or any type of company that is put in place to keep people in ignorance of who they actually are. I don't care to be around that. So you have a lot of people out there that kiss these people asses and say this, say that, like Laverne Cox and T.S. Madison stuff. They like to kiss people asses. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I don't give a fuck about kissing Caitlin's ass, who is not, in my opinion, a real trans person. And that's just that. I don't care for that. And of course, that's why a lot of people that are like that in that lifestyle, they don't really care for me. And I'm okay with that because the truth hurts. And this is somebody who identify as trans that say that. Nobody put it in my mind to become a woman. Nobody touched me. Nobody said, this is what you should be. You'll look like a pretty woman. Oh, you'll make a good wife one day. No one's ever said that to me. People actually went against it. People actually talked about me. People actually hurt me bad to where that's what made me and motivated me to go into therapy, to go into, to see a psychiatrist and all this stuff. So, like I said, a lot of people grow their self-proclaimed. They don't know, they don't have no type of medical backing outside of the new age type of psychologists that are going to agree with it because they want to check. You know what I mean? A lot of my therapists were actually Christian. And let me say this too, because of course I feel like I need to. Therapists and psychologists and counselors, they are trained by books, right? And then they get experience in this type of structure. And of course, each customer that they have or each client they have, they learn something different. So every session that you've had with your therapist or your psychologist or your counselor is a learning experience for both of you. And so I have had Christian therapists. I have had people that were anti-trans as my psychologists, and of course, it was a little rough battle with some of them because they were just not convinced about anything. But like, this is not really God's plan. But the ones who were open enough to receive it, right? And it's not receiving my transness, but receiving the fact that God created all things and that my story may not be the same story that you were taught. It may not be the same stuff that you were taught in your books because everybody's a different type of spectrum or you know damn, I lost fucking word because there's so much shit I want to say right now. But everybody's not the same type of energy. And so you are sitting here, learning about something. And like I said, my story may be different from that. And we always have, there's so many stories out there, y'all, about people that shook up the medical community. And so either way, that's what happened. I would have a dialogue with them and they'll be like, out of all my years of doing this, one of them, we're going to call her, no, we're going to call her Christina. Yeah, we're going to say Christina. Miss Christina, she was a strong Christian woman and she was a psychologist for 25 years before she had me as a client. And she was very strong in her beliefs and, God doesn't this and God doesn't that. And I think that hormones and I think that environmental influences make people like this. And knowing my story over time, and of course, they ask you questions, you answer the questions, the honest, that's open as you possibly can. After we were done and these sessions were being closed out, she was saying to me that I really opened her mind up to other opportunities, other energies, that this is not really, everything is not really what it is. And of course she went into a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. And I got the letter too in my email, by the way. Because they send like closing letters and all this other good stuff. And so that's what she sent me. And she actually saw me for like 3 times for free, y'all, because my insurance was to cover it and they didn't. And she was like, you know what? It's okay. And, she was just a good therapist, honey. I got it. Matter of fact, I got to look up Miss Christina. I got to send her something, honey. But yes, so going into that, an apple will never be an orange. And that's where a lot of people, a lot of things are trying to blur the lines to make you think that it could become an orange. If it is not a bio connection with this, then it will never be. And even going into the whole I supersede, I am outside of common or main gender roles. That's okay, but scientifically, your wiring is still designed to be male or female. You could definitely have a balance of both, but the word is balance, which is called equilibrium. And we know that that is definitely real, that's definitely true. But of course, we've seen some things, y'all, that are a little bit questionable, and it has me thinking like, was that girl Rachel Donzel? Well, mama had like dashikis on and braids in her hair, and people are like, well, maybe she feel like she black because da 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 da. But it's like, no, that is a still a race is still a cultural thing, and it's a social construct. So she felt empathetic about that, but that don't mean that she really feel that way. That don't mean that it's possible for her to feel that way. Same thing with, like I said, the trans people, people that identify as, I want to defy sexual rules. And of course, we talked about that before. That could be a like a psychological thing too, where they're rebellious against something. Like people that are rebellious against certain things, certain rules, they will try to go against the grain. And how you know this about them, excuse me, y'all, because I woke up at like 6 this morning, went back to sleep, and I woke up 30 minutes before I got on here. But those who are rebellious against gender roles and whatever, because they got a mission, and just so happens people get sponsorships and stuff too, by the way. Isn't that kind of funny as well, y'all? That the people who tend to go against these grains end up being sponsored or end up getting a big deal, and they only get a big deal because they're proud of who they are. I mean, even going into like Caitlyn Jenner and stuff, y'all, like it was alleged that before Bruce transitioned to Caitlyn, that there was discussions behind the scenes about that Bruce needed somebody to guide, you know, them on their journey. And of course, they picked somebody to be this guidance, and they picked multiple people actually, but only one person stood by them. And long story short, within a year of that, they received Woman of the Year award. And of course, the same organization that awarded, that helped to award this Woman of the Year award is the same organization that have pushed a lot of these other gender confusion or gender bender ideas onto people. And of course, I'm not here to judge people because, of course, that's people business. Because people always want to say you sound like a hater. I like to say I really don't give a fuck, girl. I'm not here to be liked like that. I don't care. I'm here to educate people because this is why the power and the energy is shifting and changing. People are grasping other concepts of what they may be and what they may not be. And like I said before I knew what it was to be intersex or be transgender, this was my energy, right? So I didn't, nobody told me like, oh, you're a trans. I'm like, oh, you're right. I am a transsexual. Oh my God. I knew it. I always knew it. Like that wasn't my welcoming or coming out story. You know what I mean? Like people gave the name, and of course I'm like, well, thank God for that name. But it's like, girl, it is what it is. You have stories of me defying this reality since I was like 3 years old. I told y'all the story. My mom could even tell y'all the story. We could do a phone call, baby, or in person if y'all want to have it. Or my mom could tell you this story. I was about 3 years old, and somebody called me a handsome little boy, and I wouldn't have known what the hell that was. And when they called me a handsome little boy, I was pissed off about it. Like, I'm not a handsome little boy. And they were like, so what are you? And I was like, I'm not a handsome little boy. Like, I didn't know, I didn't say, oh, I'm a pretty girl. Like, that didn't come out my mouth. But it was, I'm not a handsome boy. And it wasn't me saying I'm not handsome. Because I was told that a lot as a baby. I was told a lot as a baby I was cute and all that. So it was never me not identifying or accepting people's compliments. Because I wasn't abused as a kid. And so with that being said, I never connected with this male energy. So you're not going to have pictures of me playing football. You're not going to have pictures of me, you're not gonna have pictures of me being happy to be somebody's boyfriend and, oh my God, I'm somebody's boyfriend. Like, girl, like you're not gonna see that. These other people, they were happy to be these roles. And people are gonna say, well, these are gender roles too. And like I said, yeah, but you were comfortable being them. And so if you defied gender roles and you defied sexuality, then where's the proof? And we're not talking about during the time where transvestism was common, because that's still common. And I explained this to people a while ago as the femdom, which is something I'm really thinking about getting back into. Um, you know, because of course the social constructs. I want to say this as well too. There's some I want to get back into because some energies have been popping up in California, and of course I am a self-proclaimed queen of the canines. Hello, I'm a self-proclaimed fairy godmother to all canine species on this planet. Wolves and so forth, coyotes and all that. By the way, if you don't know now, I'm self-proclaimed. I've been self-proclaimed for years. And so I'm the fairy godmother to all the canines, baby. Okay. And so new energies are popping up, and Mother Nature is telling me it's time to reclaim my throne as that femdom that I am naturally. And so I had clients that had these gender roles as CEOs, as anti this. They were so masculine. They were in the military. They were sergeants. They were so strong with their male identity. They fathered multiple children. One of my clients have 20 something kids. And at that time, he was only 32 years old. And so they came to me to be broken. And when I say broken, and your reality is broken, and my reality has actually been pieced back together, to find, but why do I feel like I want to put on women's panties? Why do I feel like I want to put on lipstick? And I don't want to come out and do it publicly. Just something about it secretly just gets me. It gets me going. And of course, I'm not going to get into that, but transvestism, that's a real thing. And now we have blurred the lines between transvestism and what we call intersexism or trans identity, which is gender dysphoria. And now people are saying, well, it's possible for a man to feel like a woman but not want to be a woman. The hell? We got stories of like Uncle Gloria. We got stories of people in the 70s, in the 80s, and y'all, this is not old information, where they were okay with being called uncle still, but they wanted to look like a woman. And of course, there's sexual trauma behind this. And I always say that going into all of these people that are feeling some type of, difference, they're trying to turn an apple into an orange, which means that they feel like an apple 100%. Now they want to be an orange, or they want to be respected as an orange, but they still have apple presentation. And we're not going to say apple looks, because of course people can look at me and say, well, you have some things that are masculine about you as well. But we're getting into presentation. No one will ever tell you that I've ever comfortably taken on the male role. I've blocked family and friends. I don't give a fuck about you changing diapers. I don't give a fuck about you knowing me my whole life. I don't give a fuck about you being the first person to give me my first cake. I moved out of my parents' house when I was still a teenager. I was still in high school when I moved out of my parents' house, because I believed in my energy and people were not reciprocating that energy. And so I went into a space where people accepted it, people loved it, people saw it for what it was. And I felt like this bitch. Okay, if you want to say that, that's what I felt like. I felt like I was just this dangdada. And this is where my confidence built up at. And of course, anyway, so that's that. And so going even to this, y'all, and y'all can do your own research on this as well. I just wanted to drop this in because, of course, someone saying that they're a woman but they were born a male is not the same as someone saying that they identify as a Prius, or I'm a Toyota and identify as a truck. Like, people who say shit like that, I'm like, am I the weirdo or are you the weirdo? Am I the one that needs psychological help, or are you the one that needs psychological help? People that say they identify as a bird or a tree, I'm just thinking like, wait, would I be the weirdo or you be the weirdo? Because it's definitely possible for a man to identify as a woman or a woman to identify as a man. But we're talking about, if this is what they say they identify as, you're gonna see it in everything that they do. You're not going to go back into a picture And y'all, and I even said this before, and I love my people, y'all. I tell y'all, when it comes to LGBT community, I love my people who have always been in their truth, that love their truth. I have a problem with people that find their new identity later in life. And what I mean by later in life, like you done been the mother, you have been the father, you done had multiple children, you done had so many poom pies and stuff. Now all of a sudden you got tired of the poom pies. You don't want to have no more kids. Now you want to transition. Like people like that, girl, please don't talk to me respectfully. Like, girl, bye. Listen, listen. I have a problem with people like that because there are people that like really have died for this. There are people like that. This has been their whole life story, and they've been homeless since they were 11 years old, and people have taken advantage of straight privilege. You know what I mean? They have taken the advantage of this social construct of being a man or being a woman, and now because things are being a little more freer, now this is what I am. And it goes even into the woman who lived as woman, who had children like women, and all of a sudden because they don't want to have no more kids, all of a sudden they're sick of men in that way because they're really not sick of men because they end up going with gay boys and stuff, which is still men. Now they want to, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. I'm like, girl, okay. But anyway, going into this, there's a group of um trans men people that identify as being trans. And you guys may not be aware of these people, but there are a small group of them that will still identify as female, but they'll get their breast tissue removed. And they will tell you when you say you look like a woman without breasts, they'll tell you that's what I am and I'm proud of it. Some of them are even calling themselves DDs, double D's. And I didn't even know this, y'all. I become aware of this and I feel kind of stupid that, some lesbians are okay with being called the D word, the D word that rhymes with bikes. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm appalled by that, y'all. Like, I'm not even lesbian. I'm not even a woman that likes other women. And that word to me is just so, woo! It's so strong. It's almost like the word and I'm not going to say that because I learned that people were openly using that word and they use the word to describe a cigarette and stuff. So I can't say like, FAG is like, woo, like that's a gagging word to me, but it's like, okay, girl. But the other word, the one that rhymes with bike but starts with a D, I'm like, oh, girl, that word it's so heavy on me. And I found out that one of the people that I like, that they loved being called that word. If you called them that word, it has made them feel so good. And I'm like, what? Like, oh, so damn, okay. So I'm glad I never protested that word. I'm glad I'm not a protester for the community because I would feel stupid as fuck sitting there protesting that word. And people are like, no, I love it. I love being called that. Like, what? Excuse me? Anyway, and so um going into this group of people, they like being called penis bikes. And y'all change the word around. They like being called penis bikes. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I'm a penis bike and I'm okay with that. And then, of course, another girl said it. And then, of course, there's trans women. That's what they call themselves. So be it. That's not my business. I don't got to sleep with them. That's not my body. But they also are into penis bikes. And they said that they were born a male. So they're going to keep functioning in their male parts. And I'm like, listen, if you like it, I love it. You know what I mean? It's somebody out there for you, baby. It is what it is. See, I'm not desperate like that. I didn't transition for sexual parts. And that's what I feel like a lot of that really is. I feel like a lot of that just be some sexual trauma going on. And, and like I said, I'm not going to get into that, but I feel like there'd just be a lot with a lot going on. And I don't think I think it's natural for a man to like a woman. But if you are naturally born a man and you talk to someone that's naturally born a woman and you find them sexually attractive, and even when it comes down to the genitalia thing, that's something that you're into, this is a natural thing. So where is the gender dysphoria at? Where's the sexual differences and gender identity at? And so either way, y'all, going into this National Institute of National Institute of National Institute of Health.gov. It breaks down gender identity is arises from a complex, widespread neural networks. And of course, if you do not know, you have like nerves and transmitters throughout your brain that send signals all throughout your body. And it said that it processes one internal sense of self, body ownership, and personal identity. See, because you own your body, okay? It says body ownership. So you own your body in this whole transitional thing too. It's not just what you feel, it's you owning, okay? And it says current neurological research points. Oh God, here come the hiccup, excuse me. Current neurological research points to a combination of brain structures and distributed networks. Y'all, I get a little tongue tied with certain words. Distributed. That's gonna be my word for today, girl, to get my tongue loose used to saying that. Distributed. You know I had a speech impediment, y'all. We talk about this for a guy. I had a speech impediment, girl. All the elementary, girl. Hello! So, baby, you can say what you want, girl, but a bitch had all A's. Hello! A bitch had all A's, girl, and I graduated technically in the 11th grade. Let's get into it, bitch. Let's get into it, bitch. Y'all not ready for that tea. But either way, it says that the hypothalamus and the BNST was researched post-mortem, which focused on sexual dimorphic areas such as the central subdivision of the bed nucleus of the stria terminalis, which is the BNST. Now let's get into it. It says bed nucleus, that's spelled BEDNUCLEUS of the stria, that's STRIA terminus. And maybe I should call myself stria terminus. Ow! Come on, girl, stria. That's gonna be my new name, girl, stria. And the third interstitial nucleus of the um, anterior hypothalamus, which is called INAH3. In these structures, some trans people have shown cell size and neuronal counts that's more closely aligned with their experienced gender rather than their sex assigned at their birth. So they're saying that a lot of trans people brain structure, and I'm somebody who's had my brain searched. We talked about this before. We've had blood work done. We have all of that. That the brain structure is closely aligned with their experienced gender. That means that they feel like they're a woman. The brain structure is that of a female. It's closer to that of a female because they cannot be identical. It's closer because there's even females that were born female that does not feel trans, but they have a brain structure that is not like other females. Can we talk about it? And so it says that something called frontal occipito, and we can say yes, occipito, uh, parietal networks. We're gonna call it FOPN. More recently mapped suggesting that gender identity and gender dysphoria are tied to how the brain perceives the body and self. Neuroimaging studies reveal distinct connectivity patterns across those regions that process body ownership, self perception, and spatial identity. And so, what this is saying right here, girl, you're not transitioning because of other people's acceptance or what other people see for you. You're actually doing this because it's what you see and perceive for yourself. You see yourself as a man, you're going to transition and be a man. You see yourself as a woman, you're going to transition to see yourself as a woman. If you see yourself as a man and a woman, then you're just going to shut the fuck up and stay in your house, respectfully. Okay, that's what this is saying, girl. And it said whole brain dynamics. Now, this is the interesting part here, y'all. Catch this out. This is still, we're still on the Natural Institute place, honey. National Institute of Science. We're still up on here. It said the whole brain dynamics, Shaw. We're gonna call it WBD. WBD, girl. And it said A whole nother baby daddy. That's what it said, girl. A whole nother baby daddy. And it said research published in journals like Natural highlights that gender identity and sexual orientation are likely linked to widely distributed nature networks across the entire brain, reflecting differences in structural wiring and functional connectivity. Hence why I said that a lot of people who are non-binary in identity and who goes back and forth between being a male and a female presenting wise, and they transition and detransition, they transition, detransition, more than likely suffer from some type of sexual trauma or physical abuse. Okay. Of course, we had the documentary about Nature Boy that came out. And of course, this go both ways, y'all, on trans attraction and people who are trans identifying. We are one and the same. Some people who are trans identifying, they also have sexual trauma. They also have psychological abuse, and it kind of divides that. It kind of fragmented their viewpoints on what feminine or masculinity is, and of course, going into the whole bi thing, that also goes along that as well. Social construct and being torn in between what you feel and what society is telling you to feel. And so going into the whole, Nature Boy thing, where allegedly it was said that he was a kid and he was fostered and he was, doing things with other fostered children. And, some of the, foster parents were actually, recording and getting off on it. And then he became just into this energy to where he started abusing his baby mama. And of course, I keep telling all this, men who, a lot of these men really don't like women, and not saying that they're gay, but they really don't like women. They might be heterosexual, but they just don't like women. And of course, they will leave you to be a single mother. They will leave you to be, they will abuse you. They will abuse your, pieces, which you know what I'm saying. I won't get into. But this is where you get your power back. And that's another thing as a side note, too. I would love to see a woman spiritualist. I would love to see a woman empowered goddess, allegedly, because everybody's so, hey, what's that girl's name? I would love to see a floor burn. I would love to see a floor burn. Hey, girl, bitch. I would love to see a floor burn. Brown Flower Girl. That's her name, Fleur Burn. Andromeda Girl. She's a fellow Andromedan, allegedly. I don't believe it. No shade. That is not a fellow Andromedan girl. Andromeda, people from Andromeda is not dumb as fuck like that. Respectfully, girl. She got clout off of knowledge that she gave to people that didn't have the knowledge. We're gonna say naive, and I'm not gonna say ignorant. But I would love to see a Fleur Burn that is so anti-trans and so this and so that, almost as if she's a lesbian. I would love to see an energy like that. Talk about woman taking power of their yoni and not allowing men to abuse that power, because that's where the power is at. The power is within your yoni. The power is, and of course, the LGBT community has confirmed and identified that the cavity is not of just a vagina, because the vaginal cavity is good for, babies and all this other, pleather. So we're not going to get into scientific, tea like that. But they have found out that the oral cavity and the anal cavity could be a great substitute for the vaginal cavity. And so it's important to get your power back. And I would love to see these women. I would love to even see Wayward Renegade. What's the girl? Wayward Witch. The one that got such, she talked some shit about gays and trans people too. Some ignorant ass shit. I would love to see her woman empowered, self-identified goddess energy type of woman. Whatever, girl, I'm just as confused. I think she said she's a pan-African Satanist, Afro trans, I don't know. Anyway, I want to see somebody like that to do videos on, ladies, learn your yoni power and stop giving it just in and everybody. But see, like I said, I would love to see that. But then you guys will question some shit, because well, then why Yo Yoni couldn't get it and keep it? What caused you to be a single mama? What caused you to, not have your shit together? You know what I mean? Because of course, people keep saying I'm not a woman, but I don't have a problem getting a man or keeping a man. And sometimes I wanted to do something just to prove a point, to be like, hey, let me jump from one man to another man to show girls. It's not that hard. Men have certain needs that need to be fulfilled. And if you think that it's only pussy or it's only ass, bitch, you got it fucked up. See, a lot of us, that's what we get it fucked up. We think that we're gonna let him hit it and he gonna be hooked. He can get that anywhere. He can get that at the gas station. He can get that at the liquor store. He can get that off of Grinder, Jacked. He can get that off of Christian Mingos. He can get that off of Hilly. Tammy, he can get that off of all those apps. He don't have to, girl, like you're not cooking nothing special. But see, cooking, let me tell you what's different about all of us. You could put 20 women in a room. Let me tell you what's different about all of us. And we're not talking about just because you want to get into the trans one, we could break that down too. What separate all of us, if you put 20 trainees in a room and 20 cisgender women in a room, is that 20 trainees all could do some oral tricks. They're good at fellatio and shit. They might be able to pop it like it's hot. Some of them might be able to take it more than other people can. You know what I mean? They don't have a problem. They don't have a bottom. They don't feel anything. And some probably dress as a woman better than the other. And the same thing with cisgender woman, some of them probably have, they probably know how to do it. They have a good grip and all this other good stuff, all this little, disturbing things that people be seeking in partners and stuff, which is why the divorce rates are so high and why we have cheaters, why you have people that feel like they can go to a candy store. But what separates all of us is that we don't all cook the same meal the same way. We don't all have the same type of energy to give that man. See, if a man got fully what he needed from one person, he wouldn't be seeking it for nobody else. And people say, there's no man out there like that. Oh, no, there is. There's plenty of men out there like that could be sexually appeased and have a sexual appetite and energetic appetite for one woman. But see, a lot of us feminine energies were broken. A lot of us feminine energies were so masculine driven, right? We're so manly and masculine driven that we lost who we were. And so we don't know how to cook anymore. We don't know how to be homemakers anymore. We don't know how to give the man what he wants. We're too tired. We don't want him to. Oh, girl, she had 3 kids. She can't give it to him. Well, listen, this man was a sexually hungry man. And that's the other thing, too. A lot of these people have babies after babies. Their babies be like 9 months, 10 months apart from each other. No shade. So it's like, no, girl, that's not who you are. So you need to find a man who's compatible with you. Not all men are sexually, they're sexually driven. Some men, are not into, that type of thing. They're into it, but they don't care for it like that. Some men really like companionship. They like good conversation. And that's something too. A lot of us feminine energy, we don't know how to have good conversation. A lot of us feminine energy, we don't know how to cook. A lot of feminine energy, we don't know how to build. We don't know how to multiply. We don't know how to take $20 and turn it into 100, right? We don't know how to budget. We don't know how to stretch things out. We could get stretched out, but we don't know how to stretch things out. And so, like I said, this is the problem. And of course, we're always the common denominator because the feminine energy is always the powerhouse. And that's why I keep saying, I'm never embarrassed. I'm never ashamed. I'm never regretful. I'm never jealous. I'm never feeling envious about another feminine energy because you don't have what I have. Hello, respectfully. You don't have what I have. You can't do it the way that I can do it. And it's been proven over and over again. There's people I've known that are considered community trade that have been around with girls, have been around with other trans, and they were like, listen, they didn't have it like you, honey. They wanted to talk about shit that was really not exciting for me. And that's another thing too, as a woman, as a receiver, as a feminine energy, because we're not just going to say a woman for a man, because even going into masculine and feminine, a woman with a woman and a man with a man, as a receiving energy, you learn how to change up and adapt to situations and circumstances. As the feminine energy, you are the moldable energy. You are the go with the flow energy. It is the only energy that is stagnant by nature is masculinity. Masculinity is the only thing that is stagnant by nature, not feminine energy. Feminine energy is flowing. That's why they call the period that comes every month Auntie Flow. They could have called it anything else. They call it Auntie Flow, right? Am I correct or am I wrong? I'm willing to stand corrected. And so this is where it's at. And so instead of these women that are so-called pro women and the Tasha Kates and stuff, that believe that apples will never be an orange, which is, is serious, is truthful in a degree, and in a certain, to a degree. But they're not talking about how to use your womanhood to keep a man. They're not doing wedding ceremonies. They got love matching channels, but their lives are falling apart. Their husbands won't stay, you know. And I'm not saying, but I am saying, um, trust and believe. I can get it right. See, all they need to do, what's her name? Wayward Renegade, Rich, Flurburn, all these other people. I don't know. I guess Flurburn, because these are people that openly talk about trans people as if they just can't stand these people, like as if these people like these people. Like you can't stand your motherfucking self, bitch. And even other women like you don't like you. There's a lot of women that don't like your motherfucking asses. You look dirty. You look disrespectful in nature. Okay. And so with that being said, um, I would, like I said, I would love for them to have these discussions, but they're not going to. And of course, they need me. I'm always willing. Business versus personal. I may not like them because of shit that come out their mouth, and I also would like to have a conversation with two of them before I get into reading Flaburn, because she's on my list too. I'm gonna actually attempt to reach out to her to have a conversation with her. I want to have a conversation with her, and we don't got to do it publicly because she one of those types, to think, hello. And so I want to have a private conversation because at the end of the day, like I said, I could show you how to get one and keep one. Hello, and clearly these men like vagina. I am attracted to men that just so happen identify as being gay. They might have gay experiences because I like men. I mean, that's it. Just like if you liked a woman, if a man like a woman, he's not gonna say, I only like feminine women. Like you're gonna like lesbian women too, because you like a woman. You like breasts and you like vulva, no tea, no shade. With me, like I said, I like a man with an extra appendage, and so if he's gay, or straight, I'm okay with it. I'm not into trans. If, that's your title and you don't identify as it, baby, I respect that. Okay. I'm not into, dicks at the bottom, breasts at the top, respectfully. Or a man who wants to put on lingerie and shit every time, from time to time, respectfully. That's not my cup of tea. I can, from a professional point, yes, we can definitely work that out. Personally, me getting my rocks off and all that, that's not what I'm into. So please respect that. I'm not, transphobic or anything. That's not my cup of tea. And so I could definitely show them how to get a man and keep a man, and I'll be willing to even do it for free. I'll be willing to identify, the type of energy that are compatible with their energy, because some of these women, they need real, like, thuggish, ruggish, bone type of energy. You know what I mean? They can't do no soft men. And unfortunately, there's a lot of soft men nowadays. There's a lot of sensitive but abusive type of man nowadays. So I can see why, one of them have a hard time getting a man and keeping a man, respectfully. But I could definitely show her things to, feminine energy to feminine energy, because she ain't gonna call me no woman, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a half-ass woman calling me, saying I'm not a real woman. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? And that's what I was thinking too. Like it would be offensive if like a wholehearted woman said, "You're never gonna be a woman." And when I say wholehearted woman, I'm thinking of some, gender roles that have been put on us socially. And I'm also going to say about what they feel like in the inside. Because, that real woman are not going to sit here and say shit like that. Because real women are nurturers. Real women are educators. Real women are healers. Real women, they see, even within the hurt and the pain, what it really is. And they're going to say, you know what? I see you're still a good-hearted person, baby. And I may not really see you as a woman, but I'm gonna respect you because you're a good-hearted person, sugar. See, it be the ones that have a problem with being a woman. It be the ones that be masculine, contaminated as a woman, that's gonna say, "I don't see it, sir. He will never be a woman in my eyes." Well, of course, because you're never a woman in your own eyes. And you know that. You're not. It'd be the unfit ass parents. It'd be the people that gave up their children, the goats, the children goats and shit. Is that what a goat? Children is a goat. A child, a kid is a goat or something, girl. It be y'all. You know what I mean? Respectfully. And so, what's good for the goose, good for the gander. An apple never be an orange. I'll never be a woman just like you'll never be a real woman either. You'll always be an unfit ass parent like I'll always be a man. Okay? And that's gonna start be the reads and the teas I get into, honey. And even going into a lot of these homophobic people too and transphobic people, they be having trauma because their man be leaving them for gay men and shit. Isn't that what Tasha K said? Her man left her. She dated a gay man. He was by or something. And he was dicking her down good and shit. And she found out he was gay or something like that. I don't know. What's something along those lines. And I feel like that be with a lot of these people. I feel like they be so upset because these men be hanging out with their homeboys. Maybe they men, got down by the homeboy and they walked in on it. They don't want to talk about it. I don't know. Maybe they want to go with a woman and they just haven't found the right woman for them. And that's what I say too. It's free to be who you are. It doesn't cost to be yourself. You know what I mean? But keep my energy out your mouth. Keep my energy out your mouth. Or taste it. Okay, how about that? Keep my energy out your mouth, or keep it there and make sure it get tasteful. Okay, and so that's what I'm gonna be doing as we get into this full moon. I think I'm gonna reach out to some people. I think I'm gonna see what their contact information is. I think I'm gonna send over a nice little text message. Maybe I'll do a video, send it on over so they can see me out loud and in color. Maybe that's all I'll do. We won't do it just a text. I'll actually send over a video clip. I'll record a video clip of me getting them a nice little introduction to myself. Say, hi, how you doing? I don't really care to have this conversation with you, but I think that black woman, I think that woman in whole needs you right now. I think there's a lot of reset and healing that needs to be done. And listen, girl, shut up out of here. Shut the fuck up, girl. This damn country accent, y'all. Damn. But I just want to, because I don't think neither one of these women that I need to talk to, they're from the South. But I want to reach out. I'm going to say, you know what? I want to reach out and I want to say, you know what? That Southern accent trying to come out. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm going to send them a letter and I'm going to make sure that my video clip is in this letter slash internet mail, email and electronical mail. And I'm going to send them this email. And when they get this freaking email, I'll make sure they see me in this video. And I'm going to politely, what they say, politically correctly, educate them on what it is and what it ain't. Because one of them said she gave birth to spirits. And that right there, girl's batshit crazy. I think that's more batshit crazy than a man who thinks he's a woman. If you ask me for my honest opinion, can we be honest here? I think it's batshit crazy for you to say you had a spiritual wedding or you gave birth to spiritual children. I think it's also diabolical to sit here and talk about what a woman is and being. Listen, I'm gonna say that for a reading. I'm gonna say that for a reading because, baby, that's a sick girl. Because ABOs come up, spiritual indoctrinations come up, abuse of some T's come up. Not really being who you say you are has coming up. It's just a lot of tea coming up. Like I said, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna show them what the great grandmother energy is given, the great dragon mother is given. That's what we gotta do. It says unleash the dragon. That's what we got to do. Because girls be stepping incorrectly, women be stepping incorrectly. And I want to show you exactly what it's like to be in truth. See, baby, it's not about money no more. That's dead and gone, baby. You can't come out and give out false information to get paid anymore. That doesn't work. You got to be a part of an organization to get pushed. You got to be a part of some type of society to be pushed. And it's not society that you in. Because I'm willing to say that one of the people that you really fuck with, that you probably brought into this thing with, her days are being numbered. What's keeping her up is her homosexual activity that she's having beneath her. Her masculine energies that she birthed into this world. Their homosexual activity is what's protecting and keeping that energy up and running. Well, it's going to give out too because eventually, people are getting older and booty holes are getting looser and it doesn't work no more. Newer energies coming in and they're going to replace that energy. And when they replace that energy, mama, bye-bye. You guys going to see it right there on the front cover. You're going to see right there on the news. It's going to say, unfortunately, a great woman of many discoveries is no longer here right now. And it's going to be nature that takes her out. Because when you play with fire, you get burnt with fire. That's what they say. That's why I don't play with fire, girl. People have invited me to parties and connection stuff, girl. I don't. My last one I went to, girl. Um, respectfully, girl. Uh, thank God. Ooh, girl, praise you, God. Woo, thank God for that phone call. The last one I was invited to, and that phone rung because they said, "Baby, you got to put the phone away." And I said, "Excuse me." They said, "You can have no phone." I was like, "Bitch, I don't know what the hell I'm at. I don't know what it is this, how it is." Well, listen, you're in good hands, but you cannot have this phone. And I was like, "So if I choose not to give the phone up, what's going to happen?" Well, you can come in. That's fine. I'm okay with that. And of course, like I said, the phone call, saved me. And baby, I got the fuck up out of there. So respectfully, girl, like I said, I don't care to be invited. I don't want to be around that. A lot of broken, hoodlum, ranching ass, not gonna prosper ass energy. And it starts to show. And I'll be thinking that too. I'll be like, damn, how do you be in a game for like so many years? Like they were someone I was having this little dialogue sideline, y'all, and I'm gonna be done, I promise. So one of these famous transgender um people, they're not really big, but they are kind of viral. Because I don't think they get paid for any type of viewerships, but I mean any type of like promotions and stuff. I will say this: I think that a lot of people who are like famous, like they gave them like their points and stuff. I don't know, like they used to have connections in Hollywood, so they were like connect people with people. And long story short, um, this energy, I was having a conversation with, and I'm thinking about why I'm going to say what I'm going to say right now. Because of course I want to say it, but I'm like, well, if it's not really a point of saying it, then, if there's no, actual point, then, they don't even bring it up. And so, um, oh, there we go. No, that's the point. And so literally, this person's sibling was saying that how their sibling should be a lot bigger than what they are. And I'm like, well, they are kind of big. And they're like, no, they've been in the game for a very long time. And there's no home ownership, there's no financial stability, there's no investments, there's no any of this. And of course, I mind my business. I'm not giving my input, girl, because you might tell this person that I'm giving my input. When the person find out that you and I were talking, now I'm having a whole nother energy coming for me and shit. And listen, I don't need that. So that's why I'm not gonna name drop who this is or any of that. And so of course, she tells me and she, say all this stuff. And of course, I'm thinking to myself, this person is an older person, right? They're past 30 years old. And they have been in the game so long. So it's like all this knowledge, all this information. What were you doing with these? What were you doing with this financial blessings you were getting and financial energy? What was going on with these financial energies and all that? Because all this is spiritual. All this is spiritual. And even going to hang around with other friends that got it, you know what I mean? They're going to show you how to keep it as well. And what they say, anyway, I'm not going to give out that tea. But I'm like, baby, that's what it comes down to. And that's what happens with a lot of these content creators and a lot of these people that are so magical inclined, and spirit don't play about me, and spirit don't play about me. Girl, they go from having a southern accent to having an East Coast accent to having like a Caribbean accent to being normal again. And I'm just like, spirit don't play about you, but get your motherfucking money up. I felt like JT right there. I'm sorry. That's why I did that outburst, y'all. I felt like JT. Hello! When she said, I'm that bitch because I motherfucking said so. Yes, that's what I felt like. Get your motherfucking money up. Somebody need a song like that. Don't need to come up with a song, y'all. Who does music? I need to reach out and do some songs, y'all. I feel like I want to rap. I feel like I want to just do rap fun. I want to rap for fun. I feel like I want to do some songs for collectively. I want to do some songs individually, y'all. I can write my own music and shit, y'all. Who does music out there, girl? Who can put it together, girl, and let's do it. And baby, I should have song. Get your motherfucking money up. Hoes talk about they the shit. They always want to call me a manly bitch, but they ain't got shit but a pot. Homeless and running because they naughty or not. And no, but it wasn't sound like that, y'all. But on some serious tea though. On some serious tea. Maybe they should have been taught. And not, like I said, I can kind of see the discrepancies when people have a such disdain for trans people. I can see the discrepancies, girl. That like Nicki Minaj said, like my sister said. Nicki Minaj, my sister, yes, girl, fuck y'all. Love me some Nicki, girl. Nicki's a part of my spiritual tribe, y'all. I don't care what y'all say. Nicki Minaj, Onika is a part of my spiritual tribe. And her and Megan, they gonna make up eventually. They're not gonna always be mad at each other. Okay, hello? But she said it, that real pussy didn't keep that man at home. She said that real ass didn't keep the man at home. But really, in the song with Takashi 69 girl, my one of my booze in my head. He one of my booze in my head, girl, Takashi 69, honey. You know what I mean? Who's how you doing, TK? But yeah, Takashi in her did a song called Trolls. I think it's called Trolls. Girl, I love that song, girl. Be shaking ass, ass, ass. Maybe for my birthday, I should dress like her in that outfit. I should get like a rainbow, because June is like gay pride month. So I should get like a rainbow bikini top, rainbow booty shorts, get my hair rainbowed, honey. All I see is ass, ass, ass. Hoes don't like me. They want to fight me. Go on my page, never double type like me. Hey, somebody usher this nigga into a clinic. My throat's still hurting, not talking about pandemic. Hey, come on. But anyway, so y'all, that's what it be coming down to. Respectfully. Like, girl, so this real poom poom to get you capped? Cause see, that's what my goal would be. Like, girl, like we just gonna talk about here. Like, I was natally born a woman, natally, and I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna read these trannies down about being a woman and the etiquettes of being a woman, the proper etiquettes of being a woman. I'm gonna show you what it's like to be a woman. That means being able to be a wife, being able to have a children, be a good mother, raise successful children. My children are all graduates of Harvard, Yale, and all that. My children, went to Pepperdine University. They're dentists, they're doctors, they're lawyers. They own their own business. They were millionaires before they were 21. Like, this is the type of shit I will throw in your face if I want to read you down for not being a real woman. On top of that, how my man still loves this hot box, this moon pie. And we've been doing it for 30 years and he still wanted it like it. Like, this is the type of teaching that I would have for the children. But you got motherfucking raggedy Ann ass, dog face ass, bad built ass, sloppy, flubber dubber ass, wanky taking ass hoes acting like they somebody's motherfucking gatekeeper of womanhood. Well, I'm a real woman. You not a real one. You don't give it. You don't look like it, sis. You don't look like it, and you don't give it. Let's show us what a real woman look like. This is what it look. Girl, bye. No husband, no house, and you like men, right? Because people gonna say, well, you don't need a husband, but you like men, though, right? Where's the house? Where's the man going out to work and he about to retire? And y'all living off his retirement and y'all traveling the world. Where's this man that just love this moon pie so much and he just want it? Because the men love intelligent women. I mean, girl, respectfully, they love intelligent feminine energy. They like you to play dumb though, because they don't want you to be out. They don't want you to outsmart them. But they love a smart woman. They want to be able to give you something to multiply. They don't want a woman that they're gonna give you 100,000 and girl, the 100,000 is gone and now y'all all gotta file bankruptcy. Can we talk about it? Ain't no motherfucking way. As a trans woman that I'm married to a man and he gonna give me my money and girl, we all filed a bankruptcy. We lost our house and shit. The fuck, baby? When we're done, babe, are you ready to buy our second house? And he would gag. What do you mean the second house? Where you get this? Listen, I'm a multiplier. I may not be anatomically, 100% cisgender woman. Trust when I tell you, I can definitely multiply. My grandmama, my mamas, my mama's mamas, they all walk with me. Not to mention the great dragon mothers within me. She teaches me what I need to know. She picks and dictates my friends, my foes, and who the fuck I sleep with. And so she aligned us together and she said, this is the man that's going to give it to you to multiply. Because see, some men ain't got it to multiply. So if he ain't got it, then you can multiply it. And as a woman, you have to multiply. So you're not going to be dealing with a man who does not have nothing to multiply with as a woman. Now, this is not a social construct, because see, a social construct says you stick by your man. The social construct, if your man cheat on you, if he do this, he that, you stick by him. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. There's gonna be a line wrapped around this building. They're gonna stay wrapped around this building too, by the way. And don't let me sit here and say I'm a witch. And I'm like, oh girl, I can't find what I'm looking for. Then are you or are you not? Okay. So let me read this conversation before I go, y'all. Listen, I gotta go walk my babies. We gotta go get our exercise on, y'all. Yesterday, I only walked 4 miles. Oh, I only did 4 miles of walk yesterday, girl. The day before that, I ended up doing 5 miles. No, actually, damn, no. The day before that, I did 3 miles. I did 3 miles yesterday, girl. I was so pooped, y'all. We did a lot, honey. Woo! And today I'm gonna try to do 5 miles, okay? And I want to work my way up, y'all. I want to try to do like 7 to 10 miles a day. It's not easy, okay? It's definitely not easy, baby. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to keep that body moving, honey. And you know, y'all. And I got on a scale, y'all. I'm not saying y'all need to know, but I'm gonna tell you, I got on a scale because I knew it. I was like, my goddess beats, they keep falling, so I'm gonna have to get some more goddess beats, y'all. And so I have goddess beats on, and I don't know if y'all can hear it. This is seashells on them. One of them got a little seashells on them, and I'm like walking, and I'm feeling these motherfuckers fall down, y'all. Where I thought my whole fucking bra came out. I was like, oh, like because I don't, I don't, when I'm out in public, I don't like shit bouncing everywhere like that. You know what I mean? I want to be look like I'm held together, and so I'm walking. I get up, start walking, and my goddess beads just started falling, and I said, what the fuck? And so I said, when I get home, I'm weighing myself. But I didn't weigh myself when I got home. The next day I woke up and I weighed myself. Now, last time I weighed myself was 2 weeks ago. And so I lost 8 pounds. It was like 7.5 pounds. And my body is 32% water. It is like, I think 10% bone or 11% bone, something like that. And it's like, what is it? There was something else, honey. Damn. I'll get back on. I'll tell y'all. I'll give y'all the accurate numbers. But I lost 8 pounds, y'all. Almost 8 pounds in 2 weeks, girl. And I only did like that was I did like 4 days of like fasting completely, y'all. Where I say I didn't eat nothing but like a cup of coffee and like a cookie, in a whole like 24-hour period. Or one day I had like it was so late, girl. I had to bust me open a bag of chips. And it was the simple what spicy cheddar. Had a handful of that. Was it, y'all? Drunk a lot of water, drunk some tea, and take my vitamins. You got to take in multivitamins, liquid, girl. I'll show y'all what that is too, y'all. We'll get into it, y'all. It's where I get my energy from and stuff, y'all. We don't do drugs or any of that, girl. God bless y'all who do it, who are on medicine and stuff. God bless y'all. And we ask that by 2027 that the universe gives you the knowledge and the power to get up off of it. Ow! We ask that the spirit and universe give you the knowledge and the power to escape it, honey, and stop letting it control you, because that's what's going on. It's not that hard to change your diet, baby, if you use your mind. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying the mind is what it is. Okay. And so anyway, y'all. And so let me look at these comment sections before I go, y'all. Can we do that? Let's see who's up in here. Hatha. Oh, Hatha, 82 Skies. Good morning. Yes, honey. Maverick. Wait, okay. Holly. Holly, bro. Bernardo Franco. Okay. You want a piece of this? You want me to cam up? You gonna call me your brother when I cam up still? Oh, that just sounds like a sexual fantasy. Somebody looking like a woman and good, and you like, bro. Hey, brother. That sounds like a sexual fetish for me, girl. That sounds like something that you want to happen in a porno, honey. Like, that's my brother. The fuck? Excuse me, respectfully. When I be sitting, I be thinking, I'm like, girl, this is giving porn realness. What's going on here? Yeah, that's some real talk. Come on, have that decide. That's like gay boys who had girlfriends, no lie, no shade. Right. No, you're right, Hath 82. Like, well, see, I always say this too. I can understand, like, I never understood this before. I can understand now because I think homosexuality is real, but I think that there has been some type of social construct around it as well. I think that it's normal for a gay guy, just like I think it's normal for a woman, because I know some women that are real lesbians, Hather, and they have had boyfriends before. Yeah, I know some of them that have had that. I do know that. So I think that naturally, if a man feels like a man, he's going to have male tendencies, and his male tendencies are vagina. His male tendencies are woman. I think the ones that are like only gay, when I talk about trans identifying, the ones that say, oh, I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay, and they're like, I don't find anything attractive about a woman, I think they're lying to themselves. Because I think, as somebody who identifies as a male, who have the chemistry and the natural biological equipment as a male, meaning like your wiring is male because you're a male who identifies as a male who like other men, I think that you don't have to be really into women like 100%, but you could say, I like big boobs on a girl. I like little small whatever. Like I like I said, I think that's normal. In my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, now I'm understanding that. Same thing with women who are gay, but they also have done men, and we're not talking about for years. Like you would say, okay, a gay guy who actually had a girlfriend and they've dated for years and years and years. I don't think that's normal. I'm talking about sexual attraction. Like a man would sit here and say, oh, even though I'm gay, I don't think she's pretty. Or even though I'm gay, I don't find big boobs to try. Like people like that, I think they're lying. So yeah, the girlfriend thing temporarily, I'm like, I don't, I can see it. If it's like a long term thing, like I had a girlfriend for 15 years, it's like, yeah. So there might be some other cheat going on here. There must be some type of sexual conflict or something. Because yeah, girlfriend for 2 years go crazy, or 10 years go crazy. But like I said, sexual attraction, I've had it with a girl before, blah, blah, blah. I can kind of see that as that. Now, gender identity is totally different. That means that you're born anatomically male and you identify either as male or something else. And so, like I said, I think that's where the confusion is with the world is, well, how are these people born male but want to live as a woman but want to do things that men do? And of course, we could take a lot of things into example, like aggression. We could take sex into accountability. We could take, and just bonding with any and everything. Because of course, when it comes to women, when it comes to the genetic chemistry of females and the hormonal inputs of that in the vagina, it takes time for a woman to sexually bond with a male. It takes time. Now, if this woman is broken, if this woman does not have her yoni power, if she does not understand the power that she possessed inside, yeah, gotta catch 'em all. Y'all know that Pokemon. Then she will accept, she will connect with men instantly and say, "Oh, he, gave me good dick, so I love him," or "He ate me out good," whatever. They'll get into that, and of course, that's broken yoni syndrome. But a woman who is completely whole, she knows her worth. It takes time to connect with her. It takes time to mold her, or for her to mold on you, and that's what people don't know. So this whole month, 2, 3, 4, 5 month connection stuff, that is a masculine thing. That is a social construct and masculine energy thing because men could definitely connect with things instantly. Men are visual. So masculine energy, and I want to keep it on masculine and feminine. Masculine energy could see something that's really attractive, that looks drop dead gorgeous, and they can instantly catch feelings. Oh my God, this is the one. This is my baby mama. I want to put a baby in you. Yeah, they could do that. Feminine energy on the other side, feminine energy is a certain type of intelligence that it has to scan you. It has to scan you multiple times. And your natural scanning is through interactions, but it's also through intimacy. So when you scan this person and this man, women know, oh, this is a creep. Oh yeah, honey. I tried to talk to him, but I just couldn't do it because I could tell like something weird was something dark was about him, something sinister was about him. This is how it goes. But women women who are influenced by masculine energy or operating their masculine energy, like I said, they don't catch on to that. The you look good, it caught them. That's an instant attraction. That's an instant, bingo. They're instant. You know, And same thing with food. Men like TV dinners. Men like instant foods. Women like home cooked meals. Women like to put together home cooked meals. Naturally, we're talking about naturally and scientifically. We're not saying that they like to be a homemaker and they like to be at home and slave at the kitchen all day. What we're saying is, honey, yeah, the whole quick stuff, food and cooking is a way to be creative. It's a way of, customizing things and utilizing your natural gifts within and kind of even continue the lineage. Like mama and grandmama, they knew how to bake a certain cake. And so you're kind of continuing on that legacy. And that's with that. And so, yeah, honey. That's it, honey. Okay. Andromedans equal androgynous. You said it's connected to it because even the word media or meta is medium, down the middle, split in half. So, yes, these people have two different energies, two different identities. And like you said, you don't know if they're male or female. So that's why I said when Fleur Barron, who was a fellow Andromedan, allegedly, they said that she does not like trans people. I don't know. I think I did watch a video where I heard her say that she don't care for the trans people. Don't quote me on that. I need to do my research again. And I think she did an interview with a lesbian or another sexually confused person, somebody who presents as a lesbian, but they also have had, male part counterparts. But of course, this was a young hoe. This is somebody who was doing it at like 12 years old and shit. Allegedly said, I don't know this, is what people have had said and alleged. Like, so I need to look up this shit myself and get into seeing exactly what was being said, because of course I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at myself because of course I'm seeing myself in her in the sense of she's a reflection of me. Where I'm like, but as a spiritual person, why would you say that? Like as a religious person, as somebody who's about condemnation, damnation, and control, I could see people being homophobic, transphobic, and racist and sexist and stuff. As somebody who is spiritual, which is liberating and freeing, and I always tell y'all this, and people just don't care, it goes in one ear out the other. When someone is spiritual and they're sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, and we're not talking about identifying, because I'm telling y'all where I stand on all this energy. I'm trans and I love myself. I have a trans sister and I love my trans sister. I have lesbian brothers and sisters, gay brothers and sisters, and I love them. I don't say, ooh, girl, this is another tranny. I can't stand a tranny. Oh, this is a lesbian. No. What I'm saying is I love people who invest in themselves. I love people who love themselves and who are not willing to compromise their sanctity and viewpoints for views. Cause that's what be going on. People be trapped in between and you look at it and you're like, damn, this always been a setup. I won't get too far into things, but you look at it, you're like, this has always been a setup. This has always been what it was behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, there's always been a paid situation. There's always been a payola situation. But either way, um, once like I said, people who are like that, there's usually something going on, and with that energy, like I said, I would like to address it respectfully. And of course, I will give her the opportunity because whether or not they reach back out, I'm going to proceed with the story. Just like with the other person, I'm going to reach out to them. So I'm going to say, I would like to have a conversation with you privately. And I'm going to give it a couple of days because maybe they're booked and busy as well. In a couple of days, I don't hear response back. I will send another one. I'm going to give it a week. I don't get a response back or I get a rude response back, then I'll go ahead and I'll come public and I'll say what I need to say. If they do not reach back out, or if they do reach out and we have a discussion, of course, I'm going to share my piece of what I say and what I put out there. And that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Because of course I feel like we all have the rights, as who we are to educate. The men want a certain energy to go on. And when I say the men, I mean the elite men. The men. The men. The men. You know what I mean? That just sounds so like I'm about to start speaking Vietnamese something, honey. Lo mean, bo mean sua. Anyway, Love that dieting advice. Come on, water shrimp. Yes, honey. Come on in here, water shrimp. Yes, honey. The dieting advice. Oh shit, I forgot what I said. What I say about the dieting advice, water shrimp? Damn, I forgot what I said. Ooh, I forgot what I said. Damn. Oh well. Come on in here, finish you up. Wow. Come on in here. Look who walks through. Yes, honey. Come on, finish you, L. How you doing, honey? It's been some time. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Come on in here. Yes, honey. I don't be on Facebook. I don't think you be on Facebook either, because I go through my little stories sometimes. I don't be seeing your story like that unless you unfollow me. Did you unfollow me, Phoenix? Phoenix, you unfollow me, girl. Where my bell at? You unfollow me, Phoenix? Okay. Um, Something that I learned, and I always tell people this because I was watching, my background is Christianity. I am an ordained minister. I've been an ordained minister since December 21st of 2012. And long story short, I've studied, the Bible and theology and all this other stuff, right? And so I was watching this video the other day, and this lady, it looked like somebody was wearing a suit, honestly. And I'm not going to get into that, but I'm looking at this person and I'm like, it's giving character. And maybe like their body is real, but maybe the Holy Spirit in me is seeing that this is somebody pretending to be one thing on the outside, but they're really something else on the inside. That's what I was saying when I saw them. Like I said, it looked like somebody who had on a bodysuit. And I was like, like their face looked fake. Everything looked like faked on them. I was like, what the hell? But they were sitting there talking about the God's word and how the word of God should be eaten. And we should take this on as fruit and food. And this should be our bread and water and this and that. And I thought about it for a split second, y'all, because a lot of things that I stopped eating, I didn't stop eating because people told me to stop eating it. I didn't stop eating these things because the Bible or the news or the doctor said this is not good for you, you need to stop eating it. Something within me, as I decided to seek out the universal knowledge that is there, because if you want to say seek out God, so be it. I'm going to say the creator or the creators. I chose to seek out the creators, and I wanted all information that I am able to have access to with harm to none to become accessible to me and easily accessible to me. And as I started getting this information, these spiritual downloads, I noticed that certain cravings started changing. So it wasn't an intentional thing, it was really something that just happened. And so I look back even right now this morning as we're talking, because you said dieting advice, where I'm like, I can't even explain to people how I kicked my C4 addiction, how I kicked my Starbucks addiction, how I used to go to this other place. Now their stuff is a little more beneficial to you, but I still kicked that addiction. I would go every week, every other week, every few days. And going into meat. Y'all know I loved me some lamb. I loved me some goat. I loved me some beef. I loved beef. I had beef at least 3 to 4 times a week, y'all. I had lamb at least once or twice a month. And I loved this meat. But something in me did not want that craving no more. And even like I said, as I'm meditating through this country road. We have a lot of country roads here in California, and I live near the mountains, and so there's a lot of like streets without lights and all this stuff. And you just drive, y'all. You just drive, and you see people, but you see just open land, and you see mountains, and you see lakes, and you see rivers, and you see trees, and you see cattle. And as I'm driving, I'm in this daze, and I'm like not dazed, but I am kind of dazed out, where I'm asking God, like, I need more. Like I need more spiritual knowledge. I need more spiritual insight. I need more spiritual energy. Because I felt a lot, right? People, place, and things, they just made me feel discombobulated. And I said at that point I wanted to cut everybody off respectfully. I told y'all that. I wanted to block everybody, and I was going to be okay, and I was going to be content with that. And it's kind of like a nun and a priest when they go into working with God, honey. They don't have no wife, no husband. They cut everybody off. And that was gonna be me. They work in solace. And so that was gonna be me saying no friends, no family, stuck in the middle of Miami. That's gonna be me, y'all. Me and my little babies, that was it. But as I'm in this drive, I told y'all there was a cow. And I did not know how symbolic this was, y'all. Now I'm telling y'all, I pay attention to everything. Everything symbolic, everything spiritual, everything that I see, animal, tree, whatever, I pay attention. Something just happened the other day, y'all, and I'm gonna tell y'all that too, and I'm be done because we're on this topic. And I told y'all I was gonna pull out my video and I was gonna start recording stuff, but some things you just can't. You could just like call things out, say what it is, and keep it pushing. And so either way, as I'm doing this, I get over this hill and there's this big ass pasture of all these cows. And some of these cows are marked, and I knew, what that meant. But I saw this one cow in particular, and this cow, I'm looking because when you're driving, you're looking ahead, 15, 20 seconds. And I'm seeing this cow, and I said, it just stood out to me. I'm sure I passed a lot of cows, but I saw this one cow, and she was a brown one, and she's looking through this this barbed wire fence. And she looked so sad, y'all. I even slowed down. This road was 60 miles per hour. I slowed down and I saw this cow and she's looking over in this yard. And the side that she were looking at, like the cows over there, like I said, that's where the marked cow was. And instantly in that moment, y'all, like I felt this cow's energy. Like this cow felt something. Like this cow felt separated. This cow felt um not abandoned, but separated from something. And of course, that's when I got on Google and I asked Google, like, does cows have emotions? Because we know all living things do, y'all. But I was like, do cows have emotions? Do cows feel like humans? Do they feel separation anxiety? Do they feel this and that? And I was shocked to find out that they do. And I was actually also shocked to find out that cows share 80% of our DNA. So, although the Bible doesn't, and that's why the Bible's a little questionable to me. The Bible says that cows are okay to eat because, of course, there was a cow that sacrificed herself. Also, according to biblical knowledge, she sacrificed herself for humanity, um, in life and in death. I thought to myself, so I'm basically a cannibal. If I'm eating something so closely related to me, I'm accountable for one. But for two, like what would I like who am I to sit here and say it's fucked up for children to be in the system? And, like I said, this is just in my own mind. Who am I to say like it's fucked up for children to be in the system and orphans to be in the system and people that not have no mother, no father, and people being abused out here and abandoned out here, and I'm sitting here enjoying cow every time I get hungry. Every time I'm craving a burrito, a taco, some nachos, I'm sitting here eating a fucking cow. And then I'm saying on the flip side that, oh, this is so fucked up that these kids are abandoned, this and that. To me, I felt like a hypocrite. I felt like a hypocrite. And that's why I got emotion, no, in that moment. And even now thinking about it. Not ashamed, not embarrassed, but more so stupid. I felt like I allowed society and people make me do things that I didn't have to do because beef wasn't the only thing I could have ate. And even as a kid, y'all, we had mostly chicken. Like pork was also available too, but we mostly had chicken. And so to me, I'm like, this is all spiritual because even going into the Hindu belief system and me being reminded of that path because of course and if you don't believe in past life regressions and all that so be it, but let me be delusional in this moment. Hello, because you don't believe in it, I believe in it, so let me be delusional. That's what you say. I'll be delusional. But I've had past lives in India. I have connections with India spiritually. I even think physically, lineage wise, I have connections to Indian people. I always loved Indian people, even as kids and stuff. And so either way, and the culture, like I've always loved it. Um, and the food and the smell of the food, honey, and the people. I don't know, they were just always beautiful to me. And so either way, um, knowing about the cow and the I think they call it Kashemindu, and how holy and sacred she is. It kind of put me back into that space of the cow is holy to me. The lamb is holy to me. The goat is holy to me. People are holy to me. Life is holy to me. It's sacred to me. And so it's that. And of course, some animals are here sacrificially. Like I said, I'm not here to push things onto other people. But for my spiritual knowledge, for my spiritual empowerment, for my sacredness, I don't consume red meat of any sort. Okay. I don't consume pork, lamb, red meat. And like I said, this is just me, my own beliefs, my own what I choose to do. Just like pork. Nobody told me to stop eating pork. At that point, I was the only one in my family that I did not eat pork. Now that I'm older, none of my siblings eat pork. My mom don't eat pork. And so that's that. Okay. Pushing forward. Um, and so yes, honey, all this shit just come to me spiritually and cravings. And spirit is like, you need to this, you need that, you need this, or I'm craving this. Like I've been craving a lot of water stuff, algae, seaweed. Even believe it or not, y'all, I had a dream that we're on this. I had a dream last night. I have this from time to time where I'm talking to my fur babies. And Bella, her voice is like this. Once again, I'm being delusional because people don't believe in this shit. But Anubis always had like this weird, raspy voice, even when he was like a puppy. When he would talk to me in my dreams and stuff, he would have like this raspy, like just lazy voice, like monotone. And Bella, her voice is like this high, uh, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's just this high, like angelic voice, y'all. It's like very high and very like soothing. And she told me that she wanted red algae. And so I'm like, red algae. And I type in red algae when I woke up. Yeah, it's funny to think about it because it's like, girl, so she said she wanted red algae. And I'm like, what the fuck does she want with some fucking red algae? And so I woke up and I asked Google red algae. And of course, it had to separate because there's something called red something algae, which is toxic to human beings. So I was like, oh no, my baby trying to commit suicide. What's going on? But no, red algae is good for all omnivorous people. It has minerals and stuff in it, like all seaweed do. And I told you I eat two types of seaweeds at least twice a week. Um, and so there you go, honey. Water. I've been, drawn to the water and not really eating shrimp and I've been craving tuna a little bit, but I've not had tuna. I had sardines. I guess I had too many sardines. I was trying to do a sardine fast or eat 3 cans of sardines a day for 5 days. Y'all, I got to that second can and it made me just so nauseous, girl. And I love sardines. My mom was like, you gotta eat it with crackers. Girl, I love the taste of sardines. I could have sardines raw. I was eating it with a fork, girl. I love sardines. I don't gotta have nothing on sardines. I love the way sardines taste, but I just think I think it was too rich for me. I don't know. It was too rich for me, girl. It was the real sardines, girl. The King, I think it's King Olive or King Arthur, one of them. Um, but y'all, as a side note, before I go, we were sitting here at this grocery store, this clerk and we were talking about how she lives in the mountains and she would see one rattlesnake a year and now she's been seeing several. This year alone she saw 9 and her puppy was bitten by a rattlesnake. And of course, she talked about a coyote running across her yard, right? And it's just a random conversation, y'all. And I really be paying attention to spirit. When things happen, I'm like, well, why would they tell me this? Because I'm sure she didn't tell this to everybody else that came in her line today. Why would she tell me this? And so she tells this to me, y'all. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, whoa, she looks different. Because I know this lady. And her skin looks more like it's showing, like it's glowing, y'all. It looks refreshed. It looks like it's getting oxygen on it. Because a lot of people don't know discoloration and stuff on your skin is lack of oxygen. You're not consuming enough antioxidants, right? So you got to consume antioxidants, y'all, because the sun, the environment, the foods, the chemicals that are in our environment, it's fucking us up. It's decaying our body. And so I noticed her hair and her skin was like looking different. I was like, "What are you doing? You looking different?" Because the body looked the same, y'all. And she said, "Oh my God, I'm starting this collagen stuff, and I take it every morning. And I even did a fast where it was a gelatin like fast, or I did nothing but gelatin for a couple of days." And I'm like, "Oh, it's showing because I see it." And of course, like we're talking about the snake stuff, y'all. And so I instantly said, like, this is spiritual. And y'all, we're inside of a grocery store. And I tell y'all, the ancestors show up. The ancestors show up, y'all, and I gotta sit up for this, y'all. Ooh, girl, hold on. And Bella just came up, honey. Hey, honey, we're about to go for a walk. I know, I'm about to take you out right now. I know. That's how I tell them I gotta go. I know. She gotta go pee. She licking my hand. She gotta go pee. Bella, when she gotta go pee, she lick my left hand. When she gotta go poop, she lick my right hand. Don't tell me how she knows this. She just know what to do, honey. Right now, she's like, I gotta go pee. Okay. So we're in this store, y'all, and it's a store, so there's no way, y'all, scientifically that this to happen. Because even if somebody had this on them, like, why would it wait until they get to the cashier for this to float by? And so she's bringing this up, and I was like, this conversation is spiritual. Because talk about coyotes. And I instantly thought about the wolves. And I said, oh my God, the gray wolves coming into California, and their packs and stuff is growing. And of course, this is a good spiritual sign, y'all. This is a good spiritual omen for California, because people think that California, there's some things going on with California. People think that California is next when it comes to certain things. But trust me when I tell y'all, as long as California got people like me here, California is protected. California is sacred land. California, there's a lot of blood that's been shed here. There's a lot of things that were done here by people that don't belong here, and people like me are helping to reconnect this energy. Oh, come on in here. So you're not ready for that type of teaching. And so the gray wolves has made their way back into California, which is a sign that California is healing, which is a sign that California is reconnecting to the roots of California. And of course, even going into Newsom getting out of office and people trying to bring energy over here, Alabama people moving over here, Georgia people moving over here, they think they're going to do certain things to the state systematically wise. But the energy here is not going to be shifted. It's not going to change. There's a lot of stuff that has happened, y'all, in the past 10 years in California that has been undocumented, and some of it has been documented, but it's been hundreds of years since it happened, like an ancient lake returning to California. So I want you to understand how spirit moves. So while we're having this conversation, gray wolves pop up. And I said, oh my God, this is even more confirmation that they're coming. Because these animals that have been hiding in these mountain regions, they're going to start coming inland. Because now the gray wolves are back, the energy is shifting. And a lot of times these animals, like the bears and the rattlesnakes, all this stuff, they're natural to this habitat, but their placement has been man-made, right? And so either way, even going into the wolves, like I don't really like it, but they're trying to like, track and tag these wolves and stuff, and it's illegal to like, all this other stuff, y'all, because they made it illegal to, hunt them down. And so anyway, so the energy is just changing, energetically. And right in this conversation, y'all, she said, oh my God, hold on. Because I guess the worker called her in the back to go get some receipt paper. And when she got up out of that chair, and before she got up, y'all, I saw something go by her. And I blinked because I'm like, okay. And as she go around me, I look up, y'all, and there was a feather that looked like a bubble, like an orb, going right up, and it's going up, 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 up. And while it's doing it, I'm watching it, and people are watching me while I'm watching it. And only one guy was like, "Oh my God, you see that?" I was like, "What did you say?" And he's like, "Yeah, you see that white thing?" I was like, "Yes." And they were like, "What white thing?" I was like, "It looked like a bubble feather." And y'all, that gagged the fuck out of me. And of course, once I got my shit bagged and she came back, I told her, bye bye, this, that, blah, blah. And we kept to pushing. And I said right there, I said, honey, The ancestors are always, spirits are always, the ancestors are always with us. And even when you need some type of confirmation, the confirmation is there. And so, of course, that doesn't seem major to some of you, but that was definitely major to me, girl. That blew my mind, y'all. I was like, whoa. Like, I literally thought about the Grey Wolves in that moment. And I was like, this is spiritual. You know, her telling me this stuff. And then, bingo, that fly by, and Spirit's like, it is spiritual, bitch. Pay attention. Hello. So she said rattlesnakes. She said coyotes. And of course, we talked about the Grey Wolves. And like I said, I am the self proclaimed fairy godmother of all canine, all species of canine, honey. Okay, you heard it here first. Hello! You heard it here first, honey. I'm the fairy godmother, honey. Who you doing? Yes, honey. I love the canines. The canines love me. Yes, honey. I met vicious dogs. I met dogs that are just crazy. When I can call myself the dog whisperer because I'm not trained in none of that. But I met dogs that were highly intelligent, that allegedly were like aggressive towards other people. The dog just looked at me and kept it pushing. There was a bull mastiff, honey, a couple of weeks ago, honey. A friend and I were doing our little our little thing, and we go by this house. This motherfucker let this bull mastiff out, and honey, this dog just looked at us, girl, like, what is this? What's going on? And the guy was like calling him. I think his name was Toby, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And then the dog sit there, and he's petting the dog. And I was thinking to myself, like, what made him do that though? Like, why do you say I'm sorry? Because, bitch, you're at your house and we're walking by your house. Why are you apologizing that your dog is out? But in my mind, like, I'm questioning this, but I'm thinking, oh, because that dog probably is known to, like, doing some fucked up ass shit, or he don't trust that dog. But like I said, that dog just stood there, y'all, and it just watched us. It wasn't, like, aggressive. It wasn't, like, doing no weird shit. It, like, stopped in its tracks, and it's like he was fascinated with, like, what is this? It's like this dog was clocking my fucking tea, girl. Like, what is this? Honey, what is this right here? So anyway, that's it, honey. Um, I always catch you when I'm driving. I have another face to face that I'm really okay. I see that. Um, Freeman is one of the finest coyotes there ever been is. Oh, come on here. I know who you are. Hey, Cheesehead. How you doing? It's been a while since we've seen you, baby. How you been? How you been, baby? Freeman is one of the finest coyotes. Let me look up Freeman. I gotta look up Freeman, honey. We love our coyotes. We love our coyotes. We're even gonna get a chayote today, honey. Chayote. Don't get chayote confused with coyote. Chayote is a squash. We're gonna eat a chayote today, y'all. I made some ground turkey meat last night. Tacos. I was supposed to have only one bowl. I had two bowls. That's okay. High in protein. I think that was like 47 grams of protein. And so today I said, you know what? I'm gonna get a chayote. I'm gonna dice it up, and I'm gonna cook it down, and I'm gonna put it in there. I wanted zucchini at first, but I was like, but I'm craving zucchini or something. I'm craving a squash. And then I'm gonna make a pumpkin puree cheesecake probably on Monday or Tuesday. hmm But yeah, let me go, you all. Thank y'all so much for coming by here and allow me to, educate and take up some of your time, y'all. Time is very sacred, and I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for your time, and like I said, thank you for allowing me to borrow a little bit of it. Please, okay. So anyway, y'all, have a great Friday, honey. Shout out to y'all out there. Shout out to y'all, you, the viewers, the contributors, the gifters, the lovers, the suitors. Please, okay. Shout out to y'all. Like I said, I will be back, okay. Um, Primal Astrology with Sir Freeman. Okay. Okay. Primal Astrological with. Okay. Sir Freeman. Oh, he's a coyote. This actual person. this actual person is what you're saying. You saying that Sir William, you said Sir Freeman is a coyote. So he does magic. He's a shapeshifter. That's another thing too, honey. Uh, I told y'all this. Now, if the internet wasn't so messy, if the internet wasn't so messy, I would show y'all. I will show y'all a news article. But one of my ancestors was alleged to shapeshift. One of my ancestors has been documented as a shapeshifter. And of course, the shapeshifting ability was documented when they got in trouble. So something happened. They were accused of a crime they did not commit. And they had to prove that if I wanted to commit this crime, I could have done it and you wouldn't have caught me. And they were like, well, that's why we caught you, motherfucker. And they said, well, you only caught me because I didn't do it. And they're like, well, how so? Because, they didn't understand. They were like, well, what do you mean you haven't, wait, what? Wait, excuse us? Like, they weren't aware of anything like that back then. And they gagged. And allegedly, they shapeshifted. And it was documented. And they thought that there was some weird shit going on. They thought maybe, they were poisoned or there was some shit in some gas, some type of gas in the air. You know what they do, girl. They'll blame agriculture and shit. And, there was gases and shit. You know what they do. And so that is that, y'all. And so going into wolves and stuff, wolves scientifically or spiritually are considered guardians and teachers, but they're also known as shapeshifters. And something also interesting that just came up that we're going to talk about, because it's meant for me to talk about it, because the full moon is coming up, and it just popped in my head about the werewolves versus the vampires in Twilight. And so I want to talk about some tea, and this is some real tea, y'all. I want to talk about this tea, y'all, because, it's like fire right now. I'm feeling it. Woo! Yes, honey, it's traveling from my feet all the way up, baby. We're going to talk about this, y'all. You're going to get a video on this soon. This we're going to say. I'm not going to say Monday. We're going to get it soon because full moon is on Sunday. But it just popped up right now, so I'm going to talk about it. So I need to write out my tea, present it, and that's what we're going to do. I'm going to record it. So that's what y'all got coming for me, honey. The Twilight Saga, the wolves versus the vampires. And, some of you're either also, canine related or you're also vampiric. I mean, there's other things out there, but in modern day society, you either are a wolf or you're a vampire. Can we talk about it? And wolves and vampires grow in every movie. It seemed like canines and vampires didn't fuck with each other. Who's the? So anyway, y'all, let me go. I'm about to wash my face, tone my face, and put on my sunblock, honey, and go work out. Work out in the morning. I was shopping at the Sprouts in Clovis and saw some squash. I love that store. Come on in here, Greta Logan. Okay. Work. What Sprouts is this? Because I think Clovis got 2 Sprouts, Greta. Yeah, I think Clovis got 2 Sprouts, honey. Which one was this, Greta? In the morning. Work out in the morning. Yeah, which one was this, Greta? Which one did you go to, Greta? Greta Logan. Which one did you go to? You go to the one off of Clovis Avenue, you go off the one, no, they're both on Clovis Avenue. Which one you go to? Yeah, girl. Maybe when I'm up there, we can see each other. Greta, you think, uh-huh. Okay, you live in Corcoran. Never heard of Corcoran. Corcoran. I gotta Google that. Hold on, let me grab my other phone. Hold on. Yeah, and I got family up there in that area, girl. Let me see. I got family up there in that area, girl. Mm-hmm. Um, Corcoran. Let's see, Corcoran. Yeah, I got family up there in that area, girl. I used to love it there. hmm Um, Corcoran, that's in Kings County. Corcoran, California. Let's see. Let's see. It's 111 years old. Hmm. Let me see something. So Corcoran. Okay. That's near Tulare. I've never heard of that. Honey, I used to go to Tulare a lot too, honey. Yeah, honey. I used to stay right there in Tulare in Visalia area, honey. I used to escort out there. So Corcoran. But I think there is a Sprouts in Visalia. So why would you go way up to Clovis? I do want to say this, Greta, just in case you're a troll trying to troll. Because Mama's 2 steps ahead of you. So let me break this down to you really quickly, Greta. Loretta. What's your name? Greta. Just in case you're trying to troll me. Because the energy seems a little off. So I want to throw this out here. So, Clovis, California is a place that I have a P.O. box in. Clovis, that P.O. box is actually on my ID. Where I live at now, you're not going to find this address on public record because the place is not in my name for safety and security purposes. And if you ever were, and not saying this is you, because this has been documented, if you ever were to try to seek out and actually find out where I actually am at and show up here, 2 things would happen. I'm not going to say what one of them are, but another one is, baby, instantly, you'll be locked the fuck up. So, of course, if you are somebody that's being a little messy and you're trying to throw some tea out there, you think you're throwing tea? Because you're really not. Because we can always show leasing agreements and stuff, baby. And I'll show you the current zip code that I'm in. It's not in Fresno or Clovis. So yeah, like I said, people are weird. People think that they got tea on you. People have tried to stalk because you're that bitch. And I still am that bitch, that bad bitch. And so of course, if you try to look up my stuff, you're gonna pull up Clovis, California, because that's on my ID. That's not where I reside at. I don't live in Clovis, baby. So I don't know if you said that to try to be like, ooh, I know where this bitch at. You don't know where I'm at, baby. So my P.O. box is in Clovis. So I have a P.O. box in Clovis, which I don't check that often because that's up there. That's about what, 3 hours and 9 minutes for me. Second of all, there is something in Fresno that my name is on because I actually co-signed for someone to get a place, as we talked about lightly before. And those people burnt those bridges. So when their lease is up, baby, it's a wrap. So like I said, just throwing it out there, honey, you know, I love that area, the Clovis area, Sangers area. Love it there, baby. Beautiful. Y'all have a lot of stuff to go on there. But like I said, due to weirdos, yeah, that's not where I'm at. And if you ever want, like I said, the kind of the last 2 digits of the zip code that I'm in, we can always come up and present that proof. Well, like I said, I'm 2 steps ahead of you hoes. Respectfully, Greta. Is it Greta? Is it Greta Logan? Yes, Greta. Because when you said Corcoran, I don't know why I thought about Chowchilla. I was like, Chowchilla? I remember hearing Chowchilla. And so either way, going into that, yeah, Corcoran is closer to Visalia than it is Clovis. And I want to say Clovis, Visalia is about a good 45 minutes to 50 minutes away from Clovis. So if that's the case, then Cochrane, you would be about a good maybe 10 to 15 minutes away from Visalia. So why would you not go to Visalia Sprouts? And I think that Sprouts is bigger because I went through there last year and that Sprouts is a little bigger, mama. So like I said, if you're trying to throw tea out there and you think you got tea, whatever address you have on file, show up there. Like I said, baby, I'm 2 steps ahead of y'all, baby. Even in my finale being in Stockton, California, I had a PO box on my driver's license. When the hoes tried to dox me as Terrence, honey, and was like, yeah, this bitch is Terrence, and people thought they were having tea, and I'm like, well, if it was the case, that wouldn't be offensive. That wouldn't be sad or bad because, baby, I'm transgender. So I mean, what tea are you really giving out? But when they were trying to do that, I was like, how's it possible that they're showing relatives' names connected? Because they were even trying to say another relative lived at an address and they've been out of Stockton since 1994. And it could have been 95. So I was like, how are they showing that they lived at that address? That doesn't make sense. And so I learned that's what the public information do. It depends on what system you're in. They'll put things together and mumble it together and say, well, this must be this and that. This got to be the person. That got to be the person. That's what it is. Because even when the people are saying the birthday, I'm like, girl, that is not the birthday, girl. At all. That is not the birthday, girl. I don't lie about my age at all. When I do tell people my age, I don't lie about my age because, baby, I'm shocked to even be here. But I don't lie about my age, girl, and that is not the birthday. So, like I said, if you're throwing out Clovis to say, I know where you're at, you don't know where I'm at, baby. Yeah, you don't know where I'm at, honey. And like I said, I'm always willing to prove that I'm not there. And like I said, girl, even if you were to find out where I really am at, you're not gonna show up there. So let's not get into the doxing, secret doxing, and say, oh, you're over. Oh, I'm in Clovis too. Yeah, that's on the ID, baby. But that's not my actual address. That's not my actual location. And we can actually show the motherfucking PO box if you want to. If you want to, girl, I can actually show the ID and show the PO box that's on the ID, the driver's license, if you want to get there. So, like I said, I'm 2 steps ahead of you, girl. I'm a Gemini. 2 steps ahead of you, baby. Yeah, 2 steps ahead of you, baby. And of course, it's nothing to do with you, internet people. When I left out of Stockton, there was actually something that I was dealing with right before no, actually, it was 2 years prior to leaving out of Stockton. And of course, I was like, I got to be able to protect myself to where if they were to find, that means they would have to really do some digging. And you really have to know. And that's why I'm glad I don't like drop people's names. And I'm glad I don't show people on camera because then you would know, oh, so she has a place that they put in their name. And this why we're not going to find it. Right. See, I know my shit. White pages and shit, girl. I know how these people get down. I know how these places get down. So, like I said, you're gonna be looking like that other nut where she thought she was dropping some tea too. And people are like, does this bitch got Asian relatives or something? I guess there were some Asian people living there. And they were like, does she got Asian relatives or she got Asian roommates? And it's like, no, bitch, you thought I was at that address, girl. You thought I lived where public records said I lived, bitch. It is what it is, girl. Because even going into somebody stealing my identity back in the day, and I told y'all this story when it happened, somebody stole my information, a relative of mine, which by the way, they're behind bars right now on something else. It's not even on identity. But they ended up like opening up credit cards and shit in my name. And every time I tried to go like do something on my credit card, it was asking, have you ever lived at this address? I'm like, I've never lived there. And the people are like, are you sure? I'm sure, bitch. I know where the fuck I lived at. And so, anyway, when they found out that I co-signed for a place in a particular location, the creditor, which made me open up the lawsuit and actually get my attorneys and stuff involved, that creditor right there actually filed something against me. And like I said, I didn't know about it until when somebody was like, yeah, are you here? And I'm like, wait, what made them question that? Because of course I never got served any papers. I never seen any papers because of course I don't live there. So I was like, wait, what do you mean? What did they what? And then bingo. So like I said, if you think you doxing and all that, girl, I'm 2 steps ahead of you. Respectfully, baby. You could play with another person. I don't just call myself mother for nothing. So you're not doxing no location. Um, I am authentically and truly in the Southern California region. Um, my area code is not 209 or 661. What is that? What is that area code there? 559? That's not my area code. I don't got no 559 area code, baby. My area code is in it's originally, well, I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, because like I said, if you find it and you actually, that's how I told the person, oh, I think I saw you. Yeah, go ahead and walk up on me. Go ahead. You saw me there for real, for real? Walk up on me. And not saying I'm gonna do anything. I'm just saying if you saw me there for real and you're not trolling, walk up on me. Hey, are you Madam Merkel? Yeah, walk up on me, baby. Do it. And then take a picture of me and post it. Yeah, let's do that. I'm ahead of you girls, honey. If y'all used y'all knowledge, just like how you just did, Miss Greta, because like I said, I'm willing, I'm willing to believe, to say you on some funny shit. Just like how you just tried to clock and dock right now. If you did that to get some dick, honey, you'll be in a better position in your life right now. If you did that to figure out your life and your plan, and while you on the internet for free, thinking you're about to expose some tea for free, once again for free. It's not National Enquirer. Nobody paid you $1 million. If you could figure that out, girl, you'll be in a better position. So I just want to point that out respectfully. And maybe you're not on some trolling stuff. Maybe my energy reading is wrong. Maybe you really do live in Corcoran, which is a country bumpkin town. Um, that's the middle of nowhere. Visalia gives you a middle of nowhere city. So, maybe you do, live there. But like I said, baby, you think you're some docs and rocks and shit. White pages do not have my current address, baby. Or wherever you get the information from. Honey, it does not have my right T, girl. I'm smarter than that. I'm smarter than that, honey. And the bills that are in my name, because things are in my name, like, yeah, things are in my name, like my electricity bill and all that, that is in my name. Um, Baby, yeah, honey. You're, yeah, that's not going to be public record at all. They're not going to say, oh, we noticed where they live at because electricity there's in their name. No, because I don't owe them money. Mm-hmm. Next time, 2 steps ahead of you, baby. 2 steps ahead of the girls. Yeah, that was nice though. That was cute though, Greta. Very cute. But anyway, let me get up off here. River Park and Clovis is where I be. Okay. It's expensive in the Clovis. I can't afford to live there. But why don't you go to Visalia though? Why don't you go to Visalia though? Visalia has a Sprouts. Let me look it up. I know they do because somebody said they were building one. And I actually went through there. Now I never shopped at the Sprouts, but I think I've been through there. I'm really because I don't think that's Whole Foods. So, yeah, honey. Yeah, girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where is my where's my toothpaste, honey? Yeah, because I don't think, yeah, I don't think I use Mishwak toothpaste. I use the other shit too, I told y'all. The Peroxy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Loretta, I'm gonna tell you this right now, girl. You don't want to troll me, girl. I've gagged the set. You might think because you're on the foo-foo page right now that you're untraceable or people wouldn't figure out who and what you are. But like I said, if you are trolling, you don't want to troll with me, baby. You don't want to troll me, girl. Whatever you think you got, like I say, show up there. Okay? So that's it, honey. You guys, I will see y'all another time. Thank you for Loretta for stopping by. Now you say you be at River Park and stuff? Okay. Clovis? Okay. Well, I hope if you see me there, you come up and say hi. I hope that you come up and say, hey, boo. I hope so. Mm-hmm. I hope so, Loretta. Marilyn Monroe, my favorite hoe. Yes, honey. Yeah, let me go, y'all. Bye for now. Love you.